What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode here, the Side Guys Football Forum. I'm one of your co-hosts, I'm the Side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Side Guys, is Tad the Side.
How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Do you want to talk about it?
I don't.
No,
I
okay.
honestly
No, that's
don't.
fair. That's fair.
Like, believe me, everybody has been asking me the same thing this entire week about just what happened. Sorry
Well,
for the loss.
I'll tell you what happened, and this is the question I thought everyone was asking you, which apparently no one asked your coach. Do you understand the new overtime rules?
See, for me, it's like, okay, we're gonna talk about
no,
it.
we're gonna do it. We gotta do the thing.
I really didn't want to.
We gotta
I
do
really
the thing.
didn't want
You're a
to.
Niners fan. We gotta.
But we
do
kind
the
of
thing.
have to.
Yeah, we gotta do it. Go ahead.
And for those of us who are joining us in today's episode, there's a reason we've kind of haven't done one for close to a week now, is because I was avoiding talking about this specific thing. I was like, okay, maybe we can battle with it. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Let's move on to other topics. But I think we got to
touch base on
it. Just a little bit for sure. But honestly, for me, it's not even the overtime stuff. I mean, you force 2 turnovers on a Patrick Mahomes-led offense and you don't score off of them. That is where you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball then. So, I mean, it's like, I understand that you also had 2 turnovers as well, but it all sort of balances out. I think the penalties were the same as well, but just like, those are the things that's like, and you can get those sort of turnovers and you can capitalize on those mistakes. That's how you set yourself apart to possibly win these games. Otherwise, it's just, the guy is too good on the other side.
He's so good.
There's a reason he is like, they already have his gold jacket waiting for him when he is ready to retire. Like, I mean, the guy is just, one of the best that we'll ever see play the game. And I mean, just, you can't give him just an inch. You can't give him just any sort of separate, like that small of a separation. And it's just, I think you can say what you want about overtime. Like I said, I think you can look at it either way, where it's like, if they take the ball and they score a touchdown first, well, the Chiefs have already gone on record saying,
No, hold on. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
You have to score a touchdown first. If you are going to take the ball first, you have to score. You cannot, especially like you said, against that guy, which, by the way, I have planted my flag on this take in this podcast before. I almost said I planted my flag in this podcast before, but, our name's on the podcast. So, our flag's pretty much planted.
That doesn't fit
exactly.
Right.
But I have said that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback of all time, partially because of his ability to win despite the talent around him. I am saying this right here, right now. Patrick Mahomes, you are the best quarterback of all time. Tom Brady, get the hell out of here. I don't care about head-to-head. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback of all time. But point being is, yes, I understand that, like, the Niners, you take the ball first to see what you have to work with. You have to work with the touchdown or not. Those are the only 2 options when facing Patrick Mahomes, because if you sell for a field goal, he will beat you.
No, you're exactly right. And
I'm so sorry, man.
Yeah, it was a rough one to watch, believe me. Like, I mean, I was watching that game, and even when we had the lead, I was like, I texted you. I texted you during the game.
You did.
I was like, I can't even settle myself down, because he came back against us, not only in other games, but in the damn Super Bowl. So I was like, I cannot settle myself, because I do not feel comfortable with this lead.
And I'll tell you the funniest part is, so I meant to
again.
He did it again. And it was funny. I meant to respond to that text. And then while I was meaning to respond to that text, I got distracted by all my friends' wives were at our Super Bowl party, and their cooking was so good. So I was eating chicken wings and queso dip, and it was a great party. Not a great Super Bowl, I will admit, but a great party.
You know what? No. sorry to correct you. It was a good Super Bowl game.
No, it wasn't.
For me,
No, it
I
wasn't.
hated it because the Niners lost.
No.
But overall, it was
That was
competitive. It was a close. Okay, yeah,
No.
some people could argue that it was like, not as exciting, but it's like, you got overtime again. Just overall, I felt like it was a good Super Bowl. But yes, for me specifically, I hated the game.
Boring Super Bowl. But point being is, I saw a stat at halftime, which I'm sure you saw it too, where it was like Patrick Mahomes is 8-2, went down by 10 in the playoffs. I'm like, oh yeah, they're screwed.
Oh no,
Like
there's
that.
another one where it was like, it's been 19 years since a team has repeated in the Super Bowl. And this was literally on their last drive in overtime. I was like, they're pretty much just setting this up for the Chiefs to
The
win.
second, no, yeah, that's a different set because the second they showed that during overtime, yeah, same. I was like, oh, yeah,
I was like,
okay,
yeah,
here we
they're
go.
pretty much doing this because they know they're going to win it. And I was just like, really? You really
Yep.
just don't think
It
we
was
can
the
do
same thing as
anything? I was just like, clearly you're, and just all week, the Chiefs got more national media attention than the Niners did. I was just like, they're sort of just favoring this. And we're not going to get to conspiracy theories about like the rigging of the NFL, like all this stuff, the script and all this stuff. We're not going to get to all that, but just overall, Niners had opportunities to win that game, and they unfortunately squandered them, and that's why, unfortunately, Kyle Shanahan, is now 0-2 as a head coach and 0-3 overall in Super Bowl appearances.
Can we just acknowledge that Kyle Shanahan has now blown a 25-point lead and 24, 25, what was it?
It's 28-3, so yeah, 25-point lead.
25-point lead and 10-point lead in the Super Bowl.
2 10-point leads. So, yeah.
All right, real quick, tough. Yes or no? Does anyone have more pressure on his legacy now than Kyle Shanahan? I say no.
Probably not.
I can't think of anyone else.
I think at this point, it's like
he's known as Choker. It's him and Marv Levy. He is our generation's Marv Levy.
Yeah, no, that's what a lot of people are saying on sports radio too. That's just like, yeah, is he going to fall into that same boat as Marv Levy, where he just can't win the big one? And yeah, I really don't know. But they still have a lot of good roster. I'm still, excited for the window still being open. And that's the purpose of today's episode. We're getting into the offseason.
It's the best season in the world. Everybody has hope again. My Colts are going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, gosh.
Your 49ers are going to play us. It's going to be wondrous.
I'll take that.
I would take that. We have got to do an episode if that happens.
We might have to live stream that episode if it does happen for sure. But yes, we're doing a 2024 NFL offseason prediction show. So we're going to go into some predictions that we think may happen through free agency, through the draft, anything and everything in between there. But before we get to that episode, Tad, after our long Super Bowl talk here, we definitely have to get a shout out to our great fans at Underdog Fantasy. I mean, we were partnering with them for probably say half the season, but I mean, even though it's only been 2.5 months, whatever it was a great partnership. And that continues even though the football season's over. We brought this up so many times on the podcast before. They do all the sports. So they got you covered with the MLB. You could bet on the NBA All-Star Weekend is happening this weekend. So, I mean, you could bet on that as well. You got MMA, you got boxing, you got golf. That's going to be happening. We got the Masters in April. So, I mean, you got a lot of things that you can still be betting on. Baseball right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers have reported this week, and the players will report next week. So, I mean, that is going to be happening sooner than you think. So, yeah, they got you covered with all other sports, not just the NFL. So, please use their platform. Use our promo code DESAI, DESAI. You can double up on your initial deposit of $10 or more, up to $500, courtesy of our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. And I mean, all you have to do is pick anywhere between 2 to 5 different prop bet picks. The more bets you make, the more money you can potentially win. And like I said, just use that promo code. You can double up on your initial deposit. Only the first one, unfortunately, but just the first one. Double up on your initial deposit of $10 or more, up to $500. And I mean, yeah, just a great way to get into a fun betting platform. Really easy way too, and just a great user interface both on the apps on your phone, iPhone or Android devices, as well as the website is very intuitive as well. Me and Tad have been using it ever since we became partners with them, and we just both love the platform so much. And just, yeah, continue to use them even during the non-NFL season here. Like I said, I'll probably be using them once the MLB season kicks in. A little bit of the NBA, not as much, but yeah, definitely still use that platform because it's a great website to use. So once again, use that promo code that we're displaying on the screen there if you're watching us on YouTube, but we'll say it for you here. DESAI, DESAI. Double up on your initial deposit of $10 or more, up to $500.
And again, guys, even though the football season is over, that does not mean that betting season is over. Trust me, I got 2 fantasy football leagues going on, or 2 fantasy basketball leagues going on right now. I am second place in one, first place in the other. I am killing it with fantasy basketball, which means betting basketball probably will go similarly. So if you need basketball betting advice, hit us up at those socials right below. Oh my God, that's what it feels like when you nail that timing. That's a
It feels pretty good.
great feeling.
Feels pretty good.
That was amazing. Bottom line being is we got you with basketball. Amur is a much better baseball guy than I am. So just give it another couple weeks. Pitchers and catchers are reporting in a bit. So, throughout the spring, throughout the summer, we are still going to partner with Underdog Fantasy as long as they partner with us. And I mean this when I say it, they are the best partners we've ever had. So I really hope this partnership keeps going. But as long as it does, we've got the best advice for you. So keep checking us out and keep hitting us up on those social media accounts for the best advice going forward.
Exactly. Even though it's not football season, we'll still give you our
We're still
best
here, baby.
bets
We're
for
still here.
Underdog
And
Fantasy.
I have to imagine there are going to be draft bets coming in soon.
Oh, 100%. There'll definitely be draft bets once we get closer to that season for sure. So, Tad, let's get into today's
Let's do
episode.
it,
Like we
baby.
talked about, it is a 2024 offseason predictions episode. We got the combine happening at the end of the month, like we were sort of talking about before. And then just a couple weeks after that, we'll have the start of the new league year, which will kick off free agency. So we'll see some trades. We'll see some obviously free agent signings. And then we'll get the pro days for the college folks, obviously. And then just a month later at the end of April, we'll have the NFL draft. So that's what you're looking forward to in the next couple of months here as far as the NFL is concerned. So we may not have some NFL games, but we'll definitely have a lot of action, a lot of things to be talked about. But before we get into all that, Ted, let's sort of make some predictions here as far as what do you think could happen in the offseason when it comes to free agency, when it comes to a big trade, comes to the draft, maybe a combination of all three of those things? But I mean, Tad, what is one prediction that you think will come true come the new league year?
Okay, so
Maybe
real quick,
before the new league year, because still could happen before that too.
that is true. Before I go any further, I have to admit I ran with another take that T. Higgins would be a Kansas City Chief.
Ooh.
That one very quickly fell apart on me.
Okay, sounds
So I was
good.
like, okay,
Sounds
all right. Kansas City signs big time receiver. Let's look this up. I'm like, okay, according to all reports, they want to keep. Wait, and here's where they fall apart. It's falling apart on them as well. They want to keep Chris Jones, and we already know that relationship is a little iffy right now.
a little tenuous. Yes, yes.
Yeah, legit. It's so funny because they're obviously happy with it. Walton with the Super Bowl trophy, the Lombardi Trophy at this point. Legarius Sneed had a breakout year, so they got to pay that man.
Oh yeah,
Because this rookie contract is up. So I think here's what they're going to do. They're going to franchise Legarius Sneed. That's $18.8 million.
Yeah, yeah.
They have $30 million in cap space this offseason. I don't know what voodoo magic they're going to pull off. Maybe it's like the same offseason when they signed Joe Tooney. And who was the other big guy they signed that offseason? Do you remember?
Joe Tooney, and then they also signed a tackle, if I remember correctly, too. So yeah, they invested all this money into their offensive line because they got
and that was
humiliated
the
in the Super
same
Bowl to
year.
the
That was
Tampa
the
Bay
same year
Buccaneers.
they drafted Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith too.
Yeah,
so they invested
exactly.
all of that, and we were just like, God damn it! And you and I both called that like those were
Orlando Brown.
That was it. Good call.
That's what it was.
That was exactly what it was. And we were all like, how did they do that? So maybe it's another offseason like that. But it's looking like retaining Chris Jones and Legarius Sneed is going to be their top, go-to.
Also, underrated free agent for the Chiefs too. Willie Gay Jr. is going to be a free agent as well.
He's old though, isn't he?
No, he's only 26.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
That's why they had probably one of the more underrated tandems in the NFL with Willie Gay Jr. and Nick Bolton. So
I've always been a fan of Nick Bolton. I've sung his praises on this show. Nick Bolton. I even said during my Super Bowl party, Nick Bolton almost recovered a fumble. I want to say, like he almost got something on the sidelines. And I was like, no, Nick Bolton's really good. I was actually really mad because I was taking a photo with my sister and my dad during the Arizona Super Bowl against the Eagles when he scored the touchdown. I turned around, I was like, who scored it? They're like, it was Nick Bolton. I was like, damn it. But anyway. So I do think if the Chiefs pull off some voodoo magic bullshit, yes, they will go after, because this wide receiver free agency market is stacked.
There's some good names.
Help me God, if Michael Pittman goes to the Chiefs, I will lose it. I will lose it. He's the perfect receiver for them. But we won't talk about that. That's for a later episode. Anyway, so I go to my next hot take, which this I truly do believe will happen. Kirk Cousins will sign with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Interesting.
So let's talk about this. So Kirk Cousins is reportedly asking for about $35 million a year. That's not going to happen. Let's be real here. No team in their right minds is going to sign that unless they're desperate for. He picks the wrong year to make such a demand, because any team that would be like, screw it, we just need a quarterback for next year, most of them are in play for a pretty good quarterback this upcoming draft. So none of them are really dying to be like, okay, no, yeah, we'll pay. Just come on over here. No one's doing that. So the market for Cousins is actually kind of dry. And, you look at what the Raiders rank as in terms of cap space coming into the season, they're heading in with $43 million. But they're more than likely to cut your boy, Jimmy Garoppolo.
How's he my boy?
Yeah, he used to play for your team. He's your boy. And Hunter Renfrow. I would love like a documentary on what happened there, from like Raiders hero to like Raiders zero.
Yeah, he fell off a cliff quite a bit. Yeah,
very quickly, right? It's weird. So both of them are likely gone, which actually saves them $20 million more in cap space. So the Raiders are likely going into this offseason with $63 million in cap space. And I mean, look, this is why I picked the Raiders over all other teams, is they are currently slated at number 13.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I see all these mocks being like, oh, they're going to trade up to number 1. They're going to trade up to number 6. They're going to do this and that and trade up. And 13 is not that appealing of a spot. If I'm the, I don't know, if I'm the Patriots at number 2 and you're calling me going, hey, I'll give you number 13. I'm like, no.
Patriots are number
3. You're right. Commanders are number 2. That's going to come into play later. If I'm the Patriots at number 3 and, the Raiders, I want to say Commanders, if so many teams, all season has begun where I have to juggle all these teams in my head. And they're calling me up, be like, hey, just trade down 10 spots. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. That's too far. So I think the Raiders are just outside of the competition where they're legitimate. Like, sure, I've seen a lot of stock mocks, as was also a lot of stocks as well, where, the Patriots take, or Jesus Christ, the Raiders take.
It's been a while. It's all right.
It's been a while. I'm greasing the wheels here.
I said partly my fault. I did.
Where the Raiders are taking. Yeah. Sure, let's put the blame on you. I actually like that. Where the Raiders are taking JJ McCarthy or something like that, but why not just take the proven commodity, especially because Devontae Adams, well documented, very sick of this Las Vegas situation. He wants to compete right away, and this is not an offense to be like, okay, we're going to the rebuilding situation. I don't know if you ever watch Robot Chicken, but it's like the gummy bear skit. The gummy bear is like skipping down the hill and then she steps into the bear trap. The Raiders are not that gummy bear where they have to chew off their own leg. They don't need to do that. Where it's like, we need to compete now. And it's actually funny, while I was doing research for this, segment, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Josh Jacobs is gone. Why? Is he gone? You ready? It's been about a week, like you said. Okay. We got to play it again. Over under. Josh Jacobs. Over under 800 rushing yards this season.
Over.
By how much? You are correct. You are correct. So I'm putting you under the spotlight even more.
I'm going to say 5.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
No, you knew that. You knew that. That is bullshit.
I did it. But I figured by you asking that question, I was like, it's something minuscule, like 5 or 4 or something like that. I really wanted to play the trick card, and you're going to be like, it's exactly 800. But I was like, no, I'm going to give us benefit of the doubt. Let's go.
No, it's even worse than that. Are you ready for this?
Let's hear it.
It's exactly 805.
That's what it said.
You're the worst.
Reaction, I was like, it's
you are the worst. I hate you. You are ruining this game.
Oh, I love it.
Go fuck yourself. Anyway, 805 yards rushing is not demanding that big of a contract. He bet on himself, and unfortunately, he lost.
Sure.
In my opinion, that's not a great thing. I always cheer for the player over the team, but whatever. Point being is everyone's saying like Josh Jacobs, oh, he's going to go to the Bengals or something like. I don't really see a reason why he wouldn't just go back to Vegas.
Sure.
So with Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, they need a veteran. This is not an offense built around a rookie. This is not a guy that was like, oh, okay, he struggled as rookie. It's not the Colts, right? The Colts offense, I'm not that frustrated with. Because it's like, okay, Anthony Richardson, he was out for his rookie year, but, we look good. We're a young offense. The Raiders are not that. Devontae Adams is I won't say prima donna, but he wants to win now, which is perfectly within his right. Josh Jacobs is a very talented running back, but not getting any younger. You got to get him going. Like, this is an offense that needs to win now in a very, very competitive division. So I think it makes perfect sense for the Raiders to sign Kirk Cousins to at least here's the thing. They're going to sign him to like a 4-year contract with these numbers where everyone on first take is going to go, is it worth that money? It's going to have a 2-year opt-out. And so it just makes perfect sense to sign Kirk Cousins, get instantly into the competitive, talk of like, oh, they could make the playoffs. And on top of all this, if Cousins' Achilles recovery is a little slower, you still got Aiden O'Connell, and you prove that you can win with him. So Kirk Cousins, the Raiders, book it.
Interesting. So you bring up the fact that Devontae Adams is, borderline prima donna receiver, wants to win now, all that stuff. But there's a receiver in Minnesota that's saying that he really is lobbying for Kirk Cousins to re-sign
Really?
in
I did not
Minnesota,
see
and that
that.
is Justin Jefferson. He is 100%, he's holding off on his extension talks because he's like, I want to make sure we're secure at the quarterback position, and
That's
he is a
fair.
big proponent of getting Kirk Cousins back in purple and gold, and so we'll see exactly how that plays out because it's like, who are you going to side with? Are you going to side with Justin Jefferson, or are you going to side with, not siding with Justin Jefferson? Essentially, it's like arguably your best playmaker on the offense or possibly on the entire team. And it's like, you're going to disappoint that guy. Like, you're really digging yourself in a hole then. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I could definitely see some suitors for Kirk Cousins, some of those, fringe candidates like the Raiders. You could see maybe the Patriots may make a play for him. You can see the Falcons maybe make a play for him as well.
I've
Where
seen
it's like they got a lot
the
of young talent.
Falcons was the most popular prediction for him.
Yeah, because they got a lot of young talent, and they just need a guy who could sort of corral all that together. And just, Kirk Cousins could be that type of guy. So we'll see. But yeah, the connection to the Raiders, I can very much see that happening. I definitely want to revisit the AFC West. I got a team that I want to talk about in my next prediction, but I'm going to start. You're talking about Josh Jacobs. I'm going to talk about a running back as well. And I'm going to talk about King Henry. So a lot of people are saying that King Henry may not be able to re-sign in Tennessee, or that
the guy gave a farewell speech. He's gone.
Yeah, it's seeming most likely that he is gone. And, even though the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans, Brian Callahan, former offensive coordinator with the Cincinnati Bengals, he has sort of said that it's like, maybe we could work him into our scheme. Like, I mean, we're willing to welcome him back with open arms sort of thing. But exactly like I said, it's like, you don't give that type of speech in your last game.
They gave him a microphone.
I know. You usually don't do all those things unless it's pretty much writing on the wall that's like he's gone in the offseason. So I think he's going to leave in the offseason. And here's the team that he's going to side with. And it's going to frustrate a lot of people because they're just going to get a lot better. And this team was just in the AFC Championship game. And I'm not talking about the Chiefs because the Chiefs have a pretty good running back already, which would be pretty intriguing for sure. But I'm going with the team that they beat. The Baltimore Ravens are going to side Derrick Henry.
Oh, my God.
So, J.K. Dobbins, great rookie season. Unfortunately, Tad, since then, I know, the guy has just been mired with injuries in his short career. In only 3 seasons in the NFL, Tad, he has played a total of 24 games.
Oh, that's right.
That hurts. And that's especially rough. When you saw that production in his rookie season, you're sort of banking on the fact that it's like, okay, this is a guy that we can rely on in our offense as far as being a good supplemental piece to Lamar Jackson. This was before Zay Flowers. This was before Rashad Bateman. This is before all those guys. You still had Mark Andrews at that time, but just like, this was a guy that you can sort of use as a building block for your offense. And so it's like you're relying on that, but then he gets hurt, out for the year. He gets hurt the next year, misses a lot of games, gets hurt, out for the year last year. So it's just like, can you rely on this guy anymore? I really don't know if you can. Here's the big thing as to why they move on. He's a free agent this year. So why would you want to entertain the idea of bringing back a guy who just hasn't been healthy for your team at all? Also in conjunction with that, Gus Edwards, running back that was pretty productive for them this season, he's also a free agent. So you're going to lose 2 of your key running backs. I know we had the emergence of Keaton Mitchell. He was just the blazing fast, rookie sensation that we had towards the end of the season. Lost him to a season-ending injury. So you got him as a good complementary piece. Obviously, you signed Dalvin Cook for a playoff run, but I don't know if he's going to stick around on the team long term.
He's not.
Maybe there's a possibility
He's
there.
not. He's not.
I think he'll probably move on for sure. So I think in this case, you have a hole at the running back position. Derrick Henry has said he wants to play for a Super Bowl. He wants to play for a contending team. Like I said, Ravens were just in the AFC Championship game as the number 1 seed with a now 2-time MVP under center in Lamar Jackson. And we saw this before in the early parts of Lamar Jackson's career. They were very heavy on the running game. Remember the connection between him and Mark Ingram? Like, it was lethal to stop. Who are you going to stop as far as the running game is concerned between both those guys? Now you add Derrick Henry into that mix. Dear Lord, defenses are going to have a tough time figuring out what to do. Now you also add Zay Flowers, who has emerged as a good receiving threat. Lamar Jackson's willing to throw it a little bit more, growing a little bit more as a quarterback as opposed to just an athlete on the football field. I mean, just dangerous stuff. I know Derrick Henry has obviously gotten past his age 30 year, but I mean, the guy is just so
he's
productive.
He's still there. He's
firsthand. He has played in the AFC South and ran holes through the Colts defense, through every defense in that.
I love this prediction because get him the hell out of my division.
Yeah,
get him out.
Just helping you too, because I mean, just going through some of his
I will pack his bags. I will move for him. I just moved. I'm aware of what a pain it is. I will move his entire mansion. Get out of my division.
And here's what he's done. The past 6 seasons, he has a double-digit touchdowns in 6 straight seasons. He's had 1,000-yard rushing season in 5 of the past 6 seasons, which includes 3 seasons going over 1,500 yards. Of those 3 seasons, Ted, he had 1 season where he went over 2,000 rushing yards, like the exactly dominant piece. And I said 5 of the last 6 seasons, he had 1,000 yards rushing. In that 1 season, Ted, he only played in 8 games. But he still was
I forgot about that year. I totally forgot about that.
Here's the worst part. Here's the worst part for you, because you experienced this. Like I said, he played in 8 games. He still rushed for 937 rushing yards. He was 63 yards short of getting to 1,000-yard mark in only 8 damn games.
I remember that because it was that this past year? What year was that again?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. I remember that because when we were, that was our first year doing fantasy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he was still the leading fantasy running back like 3 weeks after he was ruled out for the season. And I was like, how is this possible?
It was very similar to like Cooper Kupp, like after he got hurt.
It was exactly like that.
He still finished as a top 25 running back. I can't remember where
I totally forgot about that season.
Just like, yeah, he had a sensational season and he's just been a dominant force. And even if he only plays like maybe 1 or 2 more good years for the Baltimore Ravens, that's still enough. Your window is open right now. You have a lot of young pieces. Your defense is young and talented as well. So, I mean, it's like, this is the time to capitalize on that. You sign him to like a 3 or 4 year deal and he could sort of possibly finish his career potentially with a ring, but this will give him a really good shot. Like I said, it's a match made in heaven for both parties.
Oh, absolutely. And that was the big criticism with, how the Ravens did in the AFC Championship is how did the Chiefs manage to win that game is they forced Lamar to throw. Sure. And because they shut down the running game and you could blame that on the coaching. And I think that's a valid criticism is, they abandoned the run way too early, which is 100% true. But at the same time, they kind of abandoned it because they knew we're not going to do anything in this run game. So like either we win it via pass or we're going to lose this. And if you bring Derrick Henry into this, fold, all of a sudden that becomes less of a, threat because I would say that's the one legitimate criticism on Lamar Jackson is, you made your mark by being a rusher. And I don't know if you agree with this or not, but to me, it seems like he's kind of taken a step back from being the rushing type of quarterback. And he wants to become more of a, not saying he's not still rushing and everything is stats on the ground are still plenty good, but it seems like he's become more of a passer than a rusher as of late.
I think 100% in the AFC Championship game, that's exactly what he was doing. Because I was saying that to a lot of my friends when we watched the evening game between the Niners and the Lions. I was saying that before. I was like, Lamar Jackson is not doing the thing which made him,
which makes him great.
Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP. I was like, there were plenty of times it was like 3rd and short. He had all this open
right down the middle.
Right
down the middle.
He was not doing it. He was just sitting in the pocket trying to pass the ball. And I was like, go run it. do what you do best. He just wasn't doing it. I think exactly like he's just hearing it maybe too much in the media. That's just like he's a running back. He's not the quarterback. Maybe it's too much frustration for him. He's like, no. I got to prove all the doubters wrong. I could do it through the air as well. And it ultimately cost him. And you clearly saw it a lot of the time. So,
but hey, throw Derrick Henry in the mix. You eliminate that weakness.
Exactly.
And without that weakness, I mean, I remember the Chiefs were what, like 4.5 underdogs in that game?
Something like that.
Something like that. So, like, all of a sudden, that underdog status with their opponent is justified because, okay, Lamar, you want to be a passing quarterback? Fine. Yeah, we'll just give it to Henry. We're good. It's no longer like, okay, no, if you can't throw the ball, we're screwed. It's like, oh, no, we have to rely on Derrick Henry. Oh, no. Is that Bruce? What's his name from Family Guy?
Bruce from Family Guy. I love it.
The little baby's gone missing. Oh, no, I know.
So, Tad, as I close this out here, I'm going to read out some names to you. Le'Veon Bell. Kenyon Drake.
R.I.P.
Tyson Williams. Who? Trenton Cannon.
Who?
Melvin Gordon.
Okay.
And Dalvin Cook. These are all running backs that have played for the Baltimore Ravens in the past 3 seasons because they had to deal with J.K. Dobbins being out for majority of the time. That is not a good. That's not a good.
Although J.K. Dobbins could be an interesting like DeAndre Swift situation there.
Yeah,
like,
I still have hope for the guy.
Team,
he's still young in his career. He could rebound, but just unfortunately, it's just I don't know what it is.
Not with the Ravens.
There's something in the water with Baltimore. He's just not able to make it work in Baltimore. Go somewhere else. Find success somewhere else. All the power to you, my friend. But yeah, King Henry in Baltimore, dirty, straight dirty.
Keaton
all right,
Henry?
Let's get to another.
Wait, Keaton Henry?
King Henry.
That's King Henry. Damn it! Yeah. I finally got you slipping up.
Yeah. A little wasn't as clear, but yeah, King Henry. That's
whatever.
So. Yeah, all right, Ted, let's get to another prediction here. What do you got for me?
All right, this one's a little bit more broad, and like I said, we would come back to the Commanders, but I've been slowly but surely doing my draft research, especially this weekend. What?
Don't call me Shirley.
Oh, how dare you! God damn it! That is now a 50-year-old joke, man.
It's one of the greatest movies ever.
Mel Brooks. Who is that? It's
Leslie Nielsen from.
That's it. Damn it. Chauncey, I know you're listening to this. I'm sorry, man.
I think he's loving it. I
don't think he is. He was very upset at me for the last episode. But this is a little bit more of a broad prediction, but I'm confident in this is Jayden Daniels will be selected before Drake May.
Okay, let's hear the reasoning behind this one.
Okay, so the more I watch him, the more I become enticed with Jayden Daniels, and I think the more people will become enticed, people being NFL scouts and GMs will become enticed with him as well. You look at Drake May, everything about him is solid, but nothing about him jumps out at me. And that's always why I like Drake May more than Caleb Williams, is because Caleb Williams, when he makes a good play, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. But then it will make a really, really dumb play, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy sucks. Drake May was always just across the board consistent, where I was like, okay, yeah, that wasn't the best play, but it wasn't terrible. I see the logic behind what you did there. With Jayden Daniels, when he makes a holy shit play, he makes a holy shit play, and he's not making a whole lot of holy shit that was a bad play type of moves. I think also I just set the show record for the number of shits dropped in the last 2 minutes.
Episode's not done yet. Oh, in the last 2 minutes, and yeah, that's fair.
Well, shit, let's keep it going. So, point being is, Jayden Daniels just looks like he has a higher ceiling than Drake May does. And I think that you look at who's picking number 2, and this is why I'm so mad I screwed that up earlier, is because this was the whole basis around my argument for this, is Washington. I do not see Washington trading out number 2. If they don't trade up to number 1, they are not trading out number 2. I've seen a couple mocks where it's like, oh, Washington trades with why? Who do they? I love Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell is the next Taylor Heineke, where he just jumps from team to team to team, and be like, he'll be our bridge guy. I think that's Sam Howell's niche. It's a great niche to have. I would kill for that niche. But Washington needs a quarterback. They know that. It's a new regime under Dan Quinn. They want their guy. And I think that you look at who I kind of gave it away. You look at who Quinn's offensive coordinator is, which is who, Amir?
Who is their offensive coordinator? I actually blanking.
Do you actually not know?
I forgot.
I kind of slipped up there. I kind of said the first part of it.
No, I'm blanking on it.
Some may say he's a king maker.
Is it Dave Canales? No, Dave Canales is the head coaching Carolina.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Right.
Is now the offensive coordinator in Washington. So it was funny because when that hire was first made, I read a bunch of articles be like, well, Drake May played in a spread offense, which is true. And he succeeded in a spread offense, which is, legitimate analysis.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jayden Daniels is the better fit there because I think what happened to Kingsbury and Kyler Murray in Arizona was that he thought that Murray was a better passer than he is. And I think that Murray ended up being more of a runner, and that's where it all started falling apart, where Kingsbury was like, okay, we got to be more of like a running situation. Jayden Daniels, and I said this weeks ago on the podcast, he's a smart runner. He knows when to run. He's not looking to run first. He's always looking deep, and that is important because his deep accuracy is insane. He actually may be, I swear I will stand by this if the tape holds up. I'm not making this take quite yet, but as of now, from the at least 7 or 8 quarterbacks whose tape I've watched so far, he has the best deep accuracy in this year's draft. Better than Caleb Williams. He has better deep accuracy than Caleb Williams. So I think that Jayden Daniels, with his dynamic playability of both being a passer and a runner, and his ability to determine in the situation what is the better option, that is what so many GMs overlook. Is, oh my God, this quarterback's a great runner. Well, should he have run there? Or could a pass been a better option? That is what a lot of people GMs tend to fall for, like, oh, he's a dazzler. We saw Johnny Manziel. Look at that pass. Yeah, but that was a really dumb pass, and he's damn lucky it was Mike Evans making it. Like, that is what happened with Johnny Manziel. With Jayden Daniels, it's actually the opposite of, like, he had no talent other than neighbors. Before LSU people yell at me, I know he had neighbors. I'm actually growing on him. The more tape I watch of Neighbors, the more I like him. But other than Neighbors, there was not a whole lot of talent on that LSU offense, and Jayden Daniels looked damn good in it. That tells me you can elevate a team. So I think that Jayden Daniels, second overall pick, I don't know what team. I'm not going to make that prediction, but whoever picks second overall, it's going to be Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, I think the Kingsbury connection's actually linking all 3 quarterbacks because, I mean, naturally you have to find material.
It's so confusing. This draft season is going to be great.
The Caleb Williams thing, it's a natural connection, obviously, with Kingsbury being at USC last year. So it's like, okay, you got to want the guy that you were sort of coaching last year. It's a good fit for your offense, right? Drake may have sort of seen it as well. Like you said, playing a spread option, you got a little bit more of that pocket presence. You got a guy who could dissect the defense, possibly if you coach him up a little bit properly, and he can make moves with his legs as well. So I mean, he does both abilities there. And then 100% with Jayden Daniels, you got that guy who's smart enough to sort of dice it up through the air when he needs to, and then also make the smart runs.
He's the perfect spread quarterback.
Exactly. So it's like that whole spread system is sort of like linking all 3 of these quarterbacks to Cliff Kingsbury and the Washington Commanders. So, I mean, I could see any situation where they're taking a quarterback, but I mean, it's really just going to see how the tape plays out, how the combine plays out, how the pro day will play out. And we could very well see Jayden Daniels go ahead of Drake May because, I mean, there's still a little bit more dissection that I have to do with Drake May, but there are times where I saw that he just wasn't as consistent as I was hoping that he could be. And so I worry that maybe we're just seeing a different guy in college that will get the NFL level. So we'll see how this all plays out. And I think just a natural transition point again. I mean, this is why we've been doing this podcast for 3 years. We just sort of been working at it. It's been getting a lot better here.
You just get me, buddy.
Exactly. But you're setting it up nicely for me. And I think that's the thing that I want to talk about here is that I also want to talk about the draft. I think we're going to see a big shakeup in the top 10 here, number 1 overall specifically.
Okay. So all right. We're doing that thing. Okay.
I think so. We're going to have another trade by the Chicago Bears out of number 1. Now, before I get into the team that is going to trade into number 1, we've been talking about this for a while. Obviously the whole talk around the Chicago Bears offseason was just, are they going to trade Justin Fields? Are they going to stick around and build around him? Obviously a related question. Are they going to trade the number 1 overall pick, or are they going to hang on to it and draft somebody with that pick? Not necessarily Caleb Williams or a quarterback, but just, are they going to hang on to that pick? And I think in this case, I've said this before about they'll probably hang on to the pick and stick with Justin Williams, though, and take Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm sort of retreating on that. So I think they're still going to stick with Justin Fields. And I don't know why your screen got dark all of a sudden here.
I'm trying. My battery's running a little low, so I'm trying to adjust the brightness. I just realized, I was like, oh shit, that affects the. There we go. Hi.
There you go. So I still think they're going to build around Justin Fields, but just yes, I think they may trade out that number 1 pick because I think they get a good draft haul, support Justin Fields with more weapons with the trade package that I'm about to lay out for you here, and they'll be able to build some capital for next year as well, whether that's Matt Eberflus, whether it's with somebody else, depending on how Matt Eberflus does in this year. Because yeah, it's very much a hot seat season for Matt Eberflus in this coming year for sure. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Very much so. A lot of Bears fans that I know, including Matt, including a good friend of the show, Jason Williams. Oh man, so many of the yeah, how about that? A lot of them were just like, why did we not fire him? Like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? Like, I'm in Dallas, man. But yeah, no, a lot of Bears fans wanted him gone.
Yeah, so we'll see how that all plays out this year. But I think this move is going to impact both franchises in a way that's going to help them both and sort of, really put a sort of like turning point for one team in particular. This is the team that's going to trade up to number 1. The Denver Broncos.
No!
Denver Broncos are picking at number 12. And so I think they jump all the way up to number 1 to get that number 1 overall pick to take Caleb Williams. And so let's dive into this here, Tad. So Sean Payton, he's clearly ready to move on for Russell Wilson.
So done with him.
Saw it last season. He was a healthy scratch for the final 2 games of the regular season. They went with Jarrett Stidham over Russell Wilson. So it's just like, clearly they're ready to move on. Unfortunately, they can't move on from that contract just yet because he signed such a burdensome contract for the Denver Broncos. So they're going to have to deal with that for a little longer before they can get out of it and eat some of that money, obviously. But I think in the meantime, they're going to get their franchise signal caller in Caleb Williams. We're sort of talking about the quarterback landscape as far as free agency is concerned. So you got your Kirk Cousins, Gardner Minshew, your guy with the Indianapolis Colts, Pro Bowl quarterback Gardner Minshew. He's on the market. You got former Colt as well, Jacoby Brissett. You got Ryan Tannehill. So, I mean, it's like you got a good mix of some guys there. But, I mean, you got that combination of, like, either high price with Kirk Cousins or you got guys that are going to be bridge guys again. So, it's like you don't have a long-term answer with any of the options on the quarterback free agency market. So, I think you have to make a big move here because clearly Sean Payton thought he could do it with Russell Wilson. Boy, was he wrong. I mean,
I don't even know if he thought he could do Russell Wilson, though. It seems like he kind of inherited him, and he was just like, all right, let's see if this works. I think that's what led to this downfall is he kind of was just like, okay, we're going to try my system. If he works in my system, happy accident. If not, then you're out of here. And I think that's what the whole drama late in the season was like, okay, you didn't work, you're out. And I think that's what led to it is I don't even think he wanted him in the first place.
And that makes a ton of sense, but I think you don't take that job unless you think you could turn around Russell Wilson because he knew going into that job, Russell Wilson was your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So
for
it's
the
like,
next season,
I think part of the reason it's like he thought he could probably make it work. And then I think he probably was more thinking along the same lines you were, where it's like, all right, well, now I just need to worry about my system and not so much about Russell. We'll figure out something else later and sort of deal with it that way. So, like I said, I think they put together a package here. So let me know what your thoughts are on this package here. So, like talked about, Broncos are biggie at number 12. So they'll trade the number 12 pick, obviously. Right. They'll trade a first-round pick next year.
Okay.
They'll trade a second-round pick next year.
Okay.
They'll also get the number 81 overall pick this year. So that is a third-round pick.
Okay.
And the kicker in this, Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, interesting.
It's a very similar deal to what they did last year with the Carolina Panthers.
It'd be DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and oh god, who's the other one?
Darnell Mooney will probably be in the slot, but he is a free agent, so I don't know if they re-sign him. But still, you got Velus Jones from Tennessee formerly, so I mean,
Cole
it's like that's a good
Cole Kmet's still there.
Cole Kmet, obviously, he's been playing really well. So I mean, just like you think about, Jerry Jeudy,
if I'm the Bears, I'm taking that.
That's not a bad move.
I'm taking that.
So it's like.
Especially because at that point they know whether or not they lost Mooney or not. So if you lost Mooney, you can take a Doomsday at that point.
That is true.
That's an interesting trade.
Especially because they'll be able to hang on to that number 9 overall pick. So you can go with Doomsday.
I love draft season.
You can go Malik Neighbors. I mean, there's a different options that you could go with there at number 9 overall. If you don't want to upgrade the receiver position, you go attack corner in case Jalen Johnson
Oh,
wins
you
in the
can go
offseason. So it's just
corner.
like,
This is such
there's
a
a
good
lot of
corner
things that they
class.
could do, but just overall, you get a package very similar to what you got last year with Carolina, where you got DJ Moore and you got those plethora of picks as well. So I think this is a very similar package that you get. And now you pair up DJ Moore with Jerry Jeudy, who we've talked about this on the podcast, Dad. He's been the subject of trade rumors with the Denver Broncos for the past 2 seasons.
I was just about to say that for the last 2 years they've been
Yeah, and so it's just like, I don't know why that's the case. Yeah, he hasn't quite lived up to the expectations of being a number 15 overall pick. Was it 15 or 14? I can't remember. Yeah. Mid first round pick. We'll just sort of leave it there, obviously. And so yeah, I think you got him in a contract year too. So even if he doesn't work out with the Chicago Bears, you just let him walk them. But it's like, as a good kicker, as part of that overall trade package, that's something that you want to take for sure. Broncos move on from him. They don't have to worry about him anymore. And the Bears potentially get a piece to start opposite DJ Moore. We talk about Caleb Williams. I mean, he's just that type of playmaker that I think when Russell Wilson was in his prime, I think you very much see some of those traits in Caleb Williams. And so it's like, obviously you see that. And I think that's what Sean Payton was hoping for when he got Russell Wilson as a starting quarterback. It's like, this is the guy that I was sort of hoping for could run my offense. It's like very much that sort of Drew Brees-esque as far as being a passer, but he's also got that athletic ability that Drew Brees lacked to sort of get out and run some RPOs, run for first downs, run for short yardage, whatever it is. And so, yeah, Caleb Williams fitting and being a part of a Sean Payton offense, I think could be a very good match made in heaven for both of those parties there. And overall, this is sort of like a big crux for Sean Payton. It's like he could either succeed with Caleb Williams or he's just never going to coach again because, yeah, this I feel like is his last opportunity. That's like, if he's here, that's like he'll coach for a little bit longer, obviously. But it's like if he doesn't succeed with Caleb Williams at this big of a trade, he's done and he's probably out of the league. Maybe he'll get a coordinator job. I don't know if he'll want to take that route, but I think for me, I think he'll go back to probably the TV booth and he'll do that, I guess, possibility here. But just, yeah, you look at the Broncos. I think they're on the cusp. They have 8 straight losing seasons, but you look at last year, they went 8-9. They had a good stretch in the middle of the season where they won 5 of their 6 games. They got some building blocks with my boy, Javonte Williams. They got Cortland Sutton. They got Greg Dulcich at tight end. They got a young defense with DJ Jones on the line, Justin Simmons, Patrick Surtain. So it's like they got some pieces that they can be competitive. They figure out that quarterback position, they can compete in a very tough AFC West. But yeah, I think here, you're sort of talking about the Raiders being at 13. It's like, who really want to trade up here? I think the Broncos, one spot ahead of them, I think they make that big leap up to trade the Chicago Bears. And they really, buy into Caleb Williams fitting a Sean Payton's offense. And the Chicago Bears, they get a lot better with draft capital, as well as Jerry Jeudy potentially being a good opposite piece to DJ Moore.
Well, and that's where that kicker comes into play, right? Because the Raiders don't really have that kicker. Raiders aren't going to trade Matt Crosby. They're not going to trade Devontae Adams, despite reports of Devontae Adams being traded. They're not going to trade him from the number 1 overall pick. But that is the perfect kicker right there. Jerry Jeudy's like just good enough where it's like, oh shit, okay, and like not quite good enough where it's like, oh, that's a major piece we're getting rid of. It's like, okay, if we draft well, we can make up for that. Now, obviously, you missed the typical bullshit of like, we'll exchange third rounders. That now seems to be a thing. But throwing those picks, and that's now a thing. No, I love this pick, especially because, like you said, well, I actually, here's why I almost flip what you said is I don't think it's so much as urgency on Sean Payton's part. Sean Payton's contract has him locked down at least for next year or so. I don't see him in the broadcasting booth again until 2026 if this all falls apart. Because I just owe him too much money. If I'm Eberflus, I'm like, oh, dear God, we need to figure this out right away. Unless something radically changes when we inevitably do this episode in, June or July of, what coaches are on the hottest seat, Eberflus is probably going to be my number 1 pick.
That's fair.
That man needs to succeed. Otherwise, he is so fired. And, we've said it before, and from all reports I've read, is they are not getting rid of Justin Fields unless they get, they are getting rid of Justin Fields. Sorry, let me repeat this. Justin Fields is gone unless they get a king's ransom for that number 1 overall pick. That Broncos offer is the king's ransom. Where I'm like, okay, and kind of like what I was like, oh my good God, with DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Justin Fields, and on top of all of this, so you look at who you could get at number 9, which is any receiver that drops. You kind of already touched on them. Neighbors, Odunze, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. That'd be crazy.
Outside chance.
Outside chance. And so the Broncos are picking at number 11, you said?
12. Number 12.
Number 12. All right. So Talisi Fuaga, who is this guy that I will not shut up about, the Oregon State offensive tackle, who, by the way, is shooting up a lot of draft boards over the last couple of weeks. You could get him at number 12. So if I'm the Bears, I just got my number 2 for my guy. I just got a great offensive tackle for my guy. I got number 3 for my guy. Also, I got Jerry Jeudy, a good rookie, and DJ Moore, offensive tackle, and a bunch of picks for next year. I mean, how do you not take that? For a guy that's proven he can win. Because Justin Fields, a lot of people are forgetting this. Justin Fields proved he can win with this roster. Like, if I'm the Bears GM, I'm taking that trade 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like this is a trade that it's hard to pass up on unless you're really committed to just not rolling with Justin Fields.
You got to be low with Caleb Williams to do that.
I think that's the big thing. Yeah. You have to really be locked into Caleb Williams or potentially Jayden Daniels or somebody else that's just like, no, we have to move on. We're not going to take this type of, draft capital and just huge trade package for a second straight year. That it's like, nope, we're going to make the decision and move on from Fields and go with somebody else. So, yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, this is the fun of it. Of like draft trades and free agency predictions. And I mean, we're still at the very early parts of it. Like, I mean, Super Bowl just ended a week ago, but I'm still feeling it like it was yesterday. All
right, well, real quick. Let's keep the excitement going. I know you and I both had third picks ready. We're kind of running up against the clock, so we won't give too much explanation. But real quick, what was your third pick?
The third pick that I had was another free agency signing, and I'm going to pick Devin White signing with the Houston Texans. And so this sort of circulates.
How dare you, sir?
I mean, we had a great surprise season by the Houston Texans last year. Not only did they win a playoff game in convincing fashion, but obviously they won the division to get into the playoffs as well with a rookie head coach, DeMeco Ryans, and a rookie quarterback at CJ Stroud. I think they continue to build on those strong foundations. They aim on the defensive side of the ball. DeMeco Ryans' specialty there. When he was coaching the San Francisco 49ers, defensive coordinator there, he had an anchor in that middle of the field with Fred Warner. I think he's lacking that in Houston, and I think he gets his guy in Devin White to be that sort of leader of the defense, that quarterback of the defense, like we so like to talk about here on the podcast. And I mean, he could be that sort of pass coverage guy. He can come in and come after the quarterback as well. He's obviously a great run stopper. I mean, just an all-around linebacker that you want to shore up the middle part of your defense. They're going to lose a lot of free agents at that position specifically, so this is a position of need for them. And then the biggest thing as to why I think they sign a free agent linebacker as opposed to drafting one, they pick at the bottom half of the first round and second round. So it's a little bit of a reach if they go in the first round, and it might be a little bit too late if they go to the bottom second round and draft and go out linebacker in those positions. They may have to trade up if they really want to get a linebacker of a top caliber like a Jeremiah Trard Jr. or Peyton Wilson on North Carolina State. So I don't think they go that. I go with this route. They have the 7th most cap space heading into free agency early offseason. And so I think they pay a lot of good money for Devin White to anchor that defense for him.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. How dare you? All right, my third/4th, because I had two options, is I'll go through them real quick. Tyron Smith signs with the Chiefs.
I would hate that.
But doesn't that reek of something that the Chiefs would do?
It could happen.
Exactly. Like this old aging veteran that doesn't really care about the bag anymore. He just wants that ring. So he's like, fine, how much do you want? $1 million? Fine, whatever. I'll play for you. Tyron Smith protecting Patrick Mahomes. Like, God damn it. No, I'm right there with you. Where it's just like, you know what? It's been a while since I pulled this one out of the bag. It is a goddamn, what am I about to pull out of the bag?
The Aaron Paul meme or
the fucking Breaking Bad meme. They can't keep getting away with this, but you know what? They are. So like Tyron Smith to the Chiefs. Don't be shocked if that happens. Also, I've seen a very popular prediction of T. Higgins to the Titans, which makes sense. They just hired the Bengals offensive coordinator. How about this though? I think this team, speaking of the bag, is going to throw a lot of money at him. T. Higgins to the Carolina Panthers.
Interesting.
They are desperate for a receiver. That was a big weakness, obviously, other than Adam Thielen. But they're like, dear God, that man is
first half Adam Thielen, second half Adam Thielen.
That's just second half. Everything with the Panthers is a very different story. So I think actually it would not shock me if the Panthers landed a big time receiver in this very loaded draft class. And I think that like if they throw enough money, don't be surprised if T. Higgins lands in Carolina.
Okay, we'll see if that all plays out there.
Just don't let Bryce Young bust. He's not that bad. He's not bad. I'm gonna be a Bryce Young defender over this offseason.
Hey, I'll take it. I think he's got the talent too. He just needs a little bit more support for sure, especially up front. 100% up front.
Little.
All right. So that'll close out today's episode. We got through a lot of our predictions here. We'll see how it all plays out. Like I said, we're at the very early part of the offseason with the Super Bowl just ending. So yeah, we got the combine happening pretty soon. Right after that, we'll have the kickoff of the new year. So that'll be free agency. Then we got the pro days. And of course, we'll close it out with the draft at the end of April. And then we're really hitting those dry months where it's just like waiting for training camp and mini camps to happen. But guys, with all of that, happening, we definitely got you covered. Hit us up on all of our social media handles. You got us on Twitter, got me on Side 23, you got Tad Side 94, got the show handle at the Decide Guys, and of course on Instagram at the Decide Guys as well. So hit us up. What do you want us to talk about? What are you most excited for? We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to get your thoughts on everything that's been happening and what's to come when it comes to the NFL season and off season. Guys, if you're listening to us, wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you subscribe as well, so you're always up to date with our podcast episodes. Watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so we're always up to date with that. And guys, please make sure you're supporting our parent network at LAFB Network. They did a fantastic job at Radio Row during the Super Bowl week.
Did you see they got Chris Sims?
They got Chris Sims.
That was awesome.
They got Trevor Sikkema, a draft expert, and I mean, they got a lot of great guests. So check out all that content on LAFBnetwork.com. Subscribe to all of their, podcasts and social media handles and YouTube and all that stuff, because guys, without them, there would be no us. We really appreciate them for sure. But guys, to everybody who's already, watching our YouTube videos, who's interacting with us on social media, who's, reading our articles that we posted a long time ago, who's listening to our podcast. I mean, guys, any way and every way that you're supporting us, we seriously just can't thank you enough.
And look, there's a lot of draft stuff, a lot of off-season stuff. We are covering free agency, trades. It was like, hey, whatever is going to happen during the offseason, that is going to be your prediction. So if you have any questions regarding any of that, hit us up on Twitter, on Facebook. That's the second time we've done this episode. This feels so awesome. On Twitter, on Instagram, we will respond. Even if it's not, me, is Amir, because I am teaching a class. My phone is buzzing in my pocket. I look, and Amir is having a conversation with one of our fans on Instagram, and I am getting alerts because we both have access to the account. That is how it was like 12 p.m. during the day on like a Tuesday. Yeah. So that is how, responsive we are with all of your interactions, YouTube comments as well. All those, comments. And it's funny, a lot of my students just found our podcast, by the way. So hi, all my students listening for the first time. And they were just like, wait, you're on Spotify? Wait, you're on Apple Music? Yes, we are on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast is where you can find us, because we want to bring you the best information. We want to have, most importantly, we want to have fun this offseason. So if you have any way to do that, hit us up. Let's have fun. Let's make it a great offseason. And you know what, Burr? I've been waiting all year to say this. And no, I do not mean all of 2024 before you pull out that smart-ass remark. Draft season is here, baby. It's here. So let's get prepped for draft season. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And please stay safe.